Hello everyone, it's Willa Latham here and I love antique porcelain. And today I'm starting by wishing you a very happy new year and I hope you've had a beautiful Christmas, whether you celebrated it or not. Today I have a very fun thing to start the new year. It's a whole collection of plates by Spode. As you may know, Spode was one of the most important potteries in the early 19th century. And they made a lot of plates. And of course, Spode were the geniuses of transfer printing. They started this whole fashion of blue and white transfer printed items, which then everybody started making, and we're still using them today. So they didn't only do blue and white transfers. These are all polychrome or multicolor transfers. And they are beautiful. Most of these are made of a very light china body called stone china. It's very, very light. These plates don't weigh very much. And you can see they're a little bit bluish, a bit grayish, and that's because they have a very high percentage of Cornish clay in them. Cornish stone, actually, not clay, stone. And that's what makes them so hard and light. Some other potteries made stone china that was very heavy, but this was very light. And then I have a few plates that are creamware, which was a bit cheaper. And as you can see, it's cream colored, so it's a little bit different. So I'm going to show you some. I'll start with one of the very famous patterns. This is the peony pattern. As you see, beautiful peonies, and it's got a beautiful border around it, which is called the ship border. And if you're wondering why it's called ship border, I'm going to tell you in a minute. But something that's interesting about this pattern is that I came across exactly the same pattern among some very old Chinese porcelain that was about 100 years earlier, from the early 18th century. So he basically copied it from a Chinese pattern that he found. Now this is made of stone china. All these plates are the same. Well, more or less the same. They were made between 1813 and 1822. He also made it on creamware, and it's exactly the same pattern, but it's printed in a peach color rather than a brown color. And it's made on creamware, which is cream colored, and also it sounds different. Do you hear that? That sounds deeper because it's harder. This was cheaper. There's less of these around because they would break easier. It's very nice too. And what is nice to see is how this is a combination of hand painted stuff and printed patterns. So they would get an etcher to make the picture on and etch it on a metal plate. And then that got printed onto the plate under the glaze on the raw china. Then it would get glazed, and then the painters would come in and they would fill in all the colors. And then the plate got fired again, and in that last firing the colored paint would fuse with the glaze, which makes it so durable. That's why it doesn't wear off very much. And so it's very nice that you have exactly the same pattern everywhere. It's like totally the same pattern, but at the same time there is a variety, because the painters, of course, you know, everybody would paint a little bit differently. Everybody would mix their colors slightly differently. So that makes it very nice. So then I have a different one here. This is called the Japan pattern. I think it's a really, really gorgeous one. I can't stop looking at this. And again, it's a very sort of Japanese, Chinese kind of pattern, probably copied from an old Chinese or Japanese plate. It's beautifully printed in puce and then colored in yellow and pink. It's very light stone china as well. Then which one shall I take? I have this very interesting, slightly psychedelic plate. Look at that. This could have been made in the 1970s. If you look at this too long, you get cross-eyed. I'm not sure how good this is to eat from. It might give you indigestion, but it's a gorgeous plate. It's got this very fun ivy rim around it. And I think the colors are also quite 1970s. That combination of blue and orange. It's quite interesting. You would never say this is from the early 19th century. So then, now I'll explain where the ship border comes from. It comes from this plate. This is a very, very rare plate. It's a real collector's item. This plate, of course, has a ship on it, and this is the first time Spode used this border, which is copied from a Chinese plate. But if you look well, it's got little waves in there. So it is related to the ship, and that's why it's called the ship border, and then he started using it for the peony pattern. Now this is a very nice scene. There is a ship coming in or going out, we don't know, and there is a woman and a little girl watching it. I imagine it's the wife of the sailor and the little daughter, and here's a house. It's a very cool scene. It's very nice, and it's very, very famous. And these plates are really rare and very desired. And then lastly, I have a really nice Japanese imari plate. Again, probably copied from a Chinese plate that was in turn a copy of a Japanese plate. Beautiful scene, beautifully printed, and it's got a lot of gilt on it, which is really nice. It's all worked out with gilt. Beautiful imari colors. So yes, you've seen some plates here. I will get more of them, so keep checking in the shop and I'll release them bit by bit. Some of them I have a whole bunch, so you could actually put together a whole set. And you can find me at gentlerattleofchina.com. Please subscribe to the videos on YouTube. If you see your subscribe button, press it now. And you can follow me on Instagram. I post every day with a nice picture of my collection and an interesting story. So yeah, please keep following me. Thank you for watching and wish you a very good new year.